This FAQ Monday is sponsored by Storyblocks Audio. Well, hello, and welcome to another FAQ Monday. I am your host, Fluff, and if you have a question, feel free to leave them on down below or go on over to my Ask FM account thing, and we'll answer some questions, because Dad's running low on questions. I mean, at least questions I haven't had before. There's always still, there's other questions. Give me what kind of amp has really good high gain, that's tubed, that's less than $50, those kinds of questions. Yeah, life. Any thoughts on what you think to be unnecessary guitar bling? Guitar bling. I like that term, guitar bling. There's a couple of different pieces of what I will refer to as flair that I just chuckle a little bit. I always chuckle at guitars that have just an insane amount of like abalone inlay or like fake, like the Schecters, some of the Schecters, not so much anymore, but like 10 years ago Schecters, everything had mother of pearl everywhere. It's just like, come on. Or like where the fretboard is just this ornate thing or someone's name, like, little unnecessary. Also, things dangling from the headstock. What is that about? I have played shows with bands that have had like scarves hanging from different parts. Why? I don't know. I don't get it. I guess I'm not a bling type of guy. Thoughts on the Marshall Studio Vintage and Classic amps? I think they look pretty cool. I mean, honestly, I haven't tried either one of them, but purportedly they're supposed to be like, nearly indiscernible, just not as loud as their big brothers. And the Marshall Vintage or the Studio series is just smaller versions of their classic amps. So like, currently I think they make a Plexi and an 800, and they have, the marketing, the videos saying like, oh my gosh, this sounds just like my old 800 that I used to tour with, but I can have it at bedroom levels, man. And like, it's pretty cool, apparently. I was actually shocked at the price though. I think they're like $1,300. I thought they were like a mini hand-wired amp or something like that, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look like it. They're just a production, not hand-wired special anything. They're just a Marshall Lunchbox amp for $1,300, maybe? I don't know. But they look cool, and from what I've heard, they sound pretty good as well. I should try to get some on the channel, honestly. Yeah, I think I will. Original Blockletter 5150 or the 6534? I mean, I just got a Blockletter 5150, which you guys will see the video for tomorrow when this airs. The 6534 is probably in my top 3 of the 5150 lineage. The second one, so Blockletter 5150, number 1 for me. Number 2, 5152, and then the 6534, and then probably the EVH 5153 50 watt EO34. It's probably, I mean, as of right now, I don't know. I should, also what I should do is just compare all these things in kind of a semi-scientific kind of way. Let you guys decide what you like, but I've owned dozens of these amps over the years, and Blockletter 5150 for me, it's still hard to beat the original. It's hard to beat Dad. You know what I'm saying? Because without Dad, you wouldn't have any of the kids or the cousins or, the dog. I don't know what that means. But my point is, without the original Blockletter 5150, we wouldn't have any of these other variants, which are also wonderful. But personally, yeah, Blockletter 5150, although I do love me some 6534 Plus, man. That was just a hell of an amp. What led you to picking the Orange 212 cab for live setup versus other options? I mean, it was kind of an easy decision. I was already touring with the Orange 212, and it's so broken in. We had, on the American Safari tour that Rest Repose did last summer, basically the entire tour package was using Rest Repose's cabs, right? So each band would bring their amp up and then plug into my cab. And so it got so much use and it sounds so good. I have a ton of other cabs. I have Mesas, I have a Gravity, I have a Coffee cabs, I have a Peavey, Misha Mansour, Invective, 212, and all sorts of stuff. But it just makes sense to continue using the beat up, much toured, much broken in rig, as opposed to just getting something new, which I could easily do. But it just makes sense to just keep the Orange out on the road and just keep it a touring soldier, as you will. And incidentally, it gets more beat up in the trailer than it does anywhere else, because stuff falling and it rubbing on like screw heads and stuff like that has just totally mangled it. But it looks great, it has tons of mojo, and again, it sounds phenomenal. So I just kind of just stick with what I was going with. Honestly, that's the real reason why we stuck with orange cabs. They're just reliable and beat them up and they just keep working. If you need a quick sound clip, background music, or sound effects for your project, look no further than Storyblocks Audio. With Storyblocks Audio, you can get unlimited studio quality sound clips, music tracks, loops, and sound effects with one simple membership. And they're all royalty free, so you don't ever have to worry about anyone claiming them on any of your stuff that you post for now or forever. It's pretty, there's no strings really. Now, I personally find Storyblocks Audio most useful for the videos where I am talking, because I am always looking and searching for background music, elevator music, as I like to put it. And I always like to have a little something down below just hanging out to kind of fill the empty spaces of when I am not talking, like right now. Isn't that nice? So if you are looking for a one single source for all of your audio, sound effects, sound clips, background music needs for your commercial or personal project, look no further than Storyblocks Audio. I will link down below in the description if you would like to know more information. Opinion on Amptweaker pedals? I'm a huge fan of Amptweaker pedals. I see James Brown at his booth every NAMM just playing with the pedals, and it's a very popular booth every single year. For those of you who don't know, James Brown, no, not that James Brown, different James Brown, designed the Peavey 5150 with Eddie Van Halen. He is a modern living day god as far as most metalheads should be. But his pedals are really great. If you haven't checked out Amptweaker pedals, they are what I would consider to be top of the mountain for distortion pedals, overdrive pedals, and all sorts of other pedals. The well goes pretty deep with Amptweaker. Definitely give them some love. I will link down below in the description if you'd like to go and check out James's stuff. Do you think that multi-scale guitars are the future? How do you like them? I don't know what you would call the future. I definitely think they're going to be more common as the years go by, and they're going to be less of a custom feature. I mean, they are already getting pretty commonplace, and big manufacturers, namely Ibanez, are starting to incorporate fan fret and or, i.e. multi-scale, not and or, i.e. multi-scale stuff into their designs. I think Ibanez has a multi-scale bass. Dingwall has long since had a multi-scale bass, Mayonnaise, etc., etc. So a lot of people and a lot of companies are starting to make them very common, and I think it's just gonna be another option and another tool going forward for future guitarists. I don't think the regular guitar will ever be replaced by multi-scale stuff. Like, I don't ever think a Les Paul will just be standard with a multi-scale fretboard or something like that. I mean, that would be kind of weird. The classics won't change, but going forward, new designs will absolutely incorporate stuff like multi-scale and fan fret designs, 100%. Now, do I like them? Nah, they're okay. I have played a few of my friends own various multi-scale fan fret stuff, and they're cool. I don't mind a slightly multi-scale guitar, because some of them are really extreme and others are kind of subtle. I prefer the subtle guys. Those are okay. But the really extreme stuff, nah, it's just not for me. And now Fluff reads a tweet. I've been watching a Cash Cab marathon for 4 hours and counting, and it's been the best 4 hours of my life. My suggestion to you this week is to check out the podcast called Armchair Expert from Dax Shepard of Punk'd and Without a Paddle. He's a big rich movie star, and he gets all of his friends to have the most wonderful, candid conversations and records it and puts it out as a podcast. And it's just lovely. I'm a big fan of Dax and most of the people that he has on the podcast. It's just a very, very good, solid hang. And I like the podcast because it just feels like you're hanging out on a couch, listening to two old friends converse back and forth for a couple hours. It's really, really awesome. All applicable links down below in the description. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.